there, I'm Richie and you're watching IG Critic. For the most part, video games don't try to be funny. In fact, it may even surprise you at just how few funny video games there are out there in the world. For all those times when you were younger, staying up far later than you should have with a great big smile from ear to ear, it's largely because of the social situations where we played and the people we played games with that brought us joy as opposed to their active attempt at humour or comedy. Especially during the 80s and 90s, it was extremely difficult for developers to even convey emotion, let alone humour in video games, restricted by the lack of stereo audio, voice recordings, and true comic timing. And as we all know, the key to a funny video game is always timing.
Did you know that people with guilty consciences are more easily startled by loud noises? I'm sorry, I don't know why that went off.
These are our 10 top funniest video games, the rare few who not only stand out of the pack, but also inherently take on the role of the Joker. No, not that Joker. Released in 2014, South Park: The Stick of Truth perfectly encapsulated the crude and lewd humour one could find in a typical episode of the show, successfully translating it to a video game. Absolutely oozing with subtle in-jokes and references with characters like Man Bear Pig and Towley, all making an appearance. Fans of this long-running cartoon will feel right at home with the gang's larger-than-life exploits when sitting down to play The Stick of Truth.
And here, of course, is the breathtaking and lovely Princess Kenny, the fairest maiden in all the kingdom. Don't ask why Kenny wanted to be a chick, it's just how he seems to be rolling right now.
If ever there was a character that successfully strikes the right balance between gruesome action and witty humour, it's everyone's favourite merc with a mouth, Deadpool. Developed by High Noon Studios, Deadpool continues the popular character's ability to regularly break the fourth wall, to actively taunt and spur on the player, all the while spouting one-liner after one-liner as you journey to save the world and search for the greatest chimichanga.
That don't put skid marks in your pants? Wait till you see this. Really?
Now bear with me on this one. Whereas the first entry in the Mortal Kombat series established itself as a fairly competent fighting game with a focus on gore, it wasn't until the second game that players could finish off opponents with babalities. These largely consist of over-the-top finishing moves that makes a point of shaming the round's loser by turning them into a baby. Not only were these instances pretty hilarious, but so was the game's creepy commentator exclaiming, "Toffee!" Whoever said violence wasn't funny? Ridiculous, neon, and over the top. 3 phrases that perfectly explain the kind of humour and overt absurdity the Saints Row series has become known for, most definitely peaking with its 3rd entry. Dubbed by some as the WarioWare of open-world games, Saints Row III never took itself too seriously or outstayed its welcome, allowing players to run riot in an expansive setting with a bat shaped like a particular appendage. You all know what I'm talking about. An old-school point-and-click adventure game from the genius minds at Double Fine. Grim Fandango's type of humour is unique in that it comes off as very dry, being all the more hilarious for it. As if the setting and scenario of placing you in the role of a Grim Reaper trudging through the Mexican underworld wasn't funny enough, the game is full of witty dialogue and unique characters that'll never fail to get a chuckle.
Did you kill much when you were alive?
Very little.
Is it the monotone delivery, expertly dry humour, or masterful voice work that makes Portal 2 one of the funniest games in recent memory? Let's just go with all 3. If there's one thing that makes you feel more uncomfortable than being threatened, it's a villain whose hobbies include toying with you for pleasure. And to make matters worse, the cake really was a lie. Wheatley and GLaDOS are the stars of the show here, delivering sadistic dialogue in a stiff tone that is both funny and unsettling.
Sorry about the mess. I've really let the place go since you killed me. By the way, thanks for that.
Sarcasm self-test complete.
Oh good, that's back online.
Our funny fourth is Guacamelee, a 2D Metroidvania that simply drips with style, character, and of course humour, placing you in the role of a lowly luchador tasked with saving the princess in Guacamelee. You'll come across old men that can transform into goats, voodoo witches that like to shake their hips, and warrior jaguars that'll have you wanting to throw your controller, all set against a Day of the Dead background that is always vibrant and never, ever dull. Chock full of memorable characters, a colourful world, and an incredible central villain that never seems like he's through roasting you, Borderlands 2 is a video game where the comic writing cannot help but outshine everything else, even the tight gunplay. The result is a funny game with hours of dialogue that never fails to surprise you, being crude, perfectly timed, and downright hilarious. Handsome Jack is yet another example of a villain that we cannot help but love to hate. At number 2, our second double fine entry on this list. Brutal Legend is one of those rare games that features a Hollywood actor that simply gets what the game is trying to achieve. With Brutal Legend, Tim Schafer has created a game in which Jack Black can live out his fantasies as a rock legend, executing plenty of hysterical, improvised dialogue with just the perfect delivery. As if in-game appearances from heavy metal legends such as Ozzy Osbourne and Lemmy wasn't quirky enough. If you fancy a laugh and enjoy rock and roll, then this game is definitely one you should give a go.
I think you're a nun, but I know you're really some kind of big ugly demon, so let's have it. Aha! I knew it! Big ugly demon.
The Sims is a series of games where the scenarios you place your respective Sims in essentially determines how funny it is, practically placing you in the role of director, or even God. Anyone who's played this game has at some point either starved their Sims within an inch of their life, made them lose in a game of strip poker, or even burned their house down for one simple reason: because they could. Admit it, we know you have. Not just a game, but a platform where you get to be creative as well as funny. With The Sims, you can create your own hysterical situations. The humour, the hilarity, the zany ridiculousness of video game hijinks. We all like a good laugh, so feel free to share your favourite funny video game moments in the comments section below. Maybe your choice will end up in one of our videos. We'll only know if you try. Speaking of other videos, you can check out more of our content right here. If you like this one, please give us a thumbs up and subscribe for more on gaming, funny and fantastic. Thanks for watching.